Mark Consuelos had always been the life of every room he walked into. That easy smile, the glint of humor in his eyes, the warmth that made even strangers feel like family. To millions, he was the charismatic actor whose performances leapt off the screen. But to those who knew him best, he was simply Mark, a man whose laughter could soften even the hardest day. No one could have imagined how quickly that laughter might be silenced. It began on an unremarkable Tuesday afternoon. Mark had just wrapped a morning segment with his wife Kelly on their talk show. They joked about coffee, teased each other, and signed off with their usual playful energy. The studio audience filed out, leaving behind the echo of applause. Mark lingered on set, checking a few messages before heading to lunch. But as he walked toward the green room, a sharp pain cut across his chest. He paused, hand pressed against his ribs. He tried to laugh it off, maybe too much caffeine, he told himself, but the ache deepened, hot and unrelenting. By the time Kelly found him, Mark was pale, beads of sweat tracing his temples. "Mark, hey, talk to me," she said, kneeling beside him. "I'm fine," he muttered, though his voice trembled. "Just need a minute." But his legs buckled. Within moments, paramedics were rushing him out of the studio, camera still cooling behind them. The hospital smelled faintly of antiseptic and coffee, an odd combination that Kelly would never forget. Doctors moved with brisk efficiency, their voices low but urgent. "Possible cardiac event," one said. "Prep the cath lab," another replied. Mark was whisked into surgery as Kelly clutched his wedding ring, removed for the procedure. Hours felt like years. She replayed every morning they'd shared, every small, unspoken promise. When a cardiologist finally emerged, his expression was careful. "He's stable for now," the doctor said, "but the damage was significant. He'll need close monitoring in the ICU." Kelly's knees weakened. She pressed her palm against the cool wall, steadying herself. Stable, yet not safe. News spread fast. Within hours, social media was ablaze with speculation. Fans posted heartfelt messages, "Stay strong, Mark. Praying for you. You've got this." Meanwhile, Kelly stayed rooted to the chair beside his bed. Monitors blinked rhythmically, their beeps of fragile reassurance. Mark lay pale, an oxygen tube framing his face. She whispered stories to him. About their kids, about the silly rescue dog they had adopted, about the first time they met on set. "You can't leave before you teach Lola to drive stick," she murmured, stroking his hand. Doctors cautioned that the next 48 hours were critical. But Kelly could see the stubborn spark in Mark even in sleep, the faint crease between his brows, the hint of a fighter refusing to give in. As night stretched on, Kelly's mind wandered back through their history. She remembered the early days when they were two young actors trying to make sense of love and fame. They'd sneak out after long shoots, sharing pizza on street curbs, laughing until dawn. There were the years of raising kids amid chaotic schedules, of learning that marriage wasn't just about grand gestures, but also about standing steady through storms. And there were quiet mornings, coffee mugs in hand, when the world seemed to pause just for them. Those memories felt like lifelines now, threads pulling Mark back to her. The hospital staff tried to shield them from the avalanche of media requests, but Kelly knew fans cared deeply. She posted a brief update. "Mark is in the ICU following a serious cardiac event. He's fighting hard. Please keep him in your prayers." The post went viral within minutes. Celebrities sent flowers and recorded messages of support. A group of fans organized a candlelight vigil outside the hospital. Their voices rose in soft harmony, singing Mark's favorite song. Inside, Kelly played recordings of friends wishing him strength. Even in unconsciousness, his fingers twitched at familiar voices. On the second night, a storm battered the city. Rain lashed against the windows as Kelly sat, blanket wrapped around her shoulders. A nurse checked Mark's vitals and smiled reassuringly. "He's holding steady." But later, alarms shrieked. Mark's heart rhythm fluttered wildly. Kelly felt her own heart lurch as medical staff flooded the room. "Mr. Consuelos, stay with us," a doctor urged, while another adjusted IV drips. Kelly stood frozen until a nurse gently guided her aside. Minutes, or maybe hours, passed before the chaos subsided. A doctor approached, eyes calm but firm. "He's stable again," the doctor said quietly. That was close. Kelly pressed her forehead against Mark's hand, tears sliding silently. "I need you to stay," she whispered. "Please." By dawn, the storm had cleared, leaving a pale blue sky. Mark stirred, his eyelids fluttering. Kelly leaned forward, breath caught. "Mark, can you hear me?" His lips parted, a faint rasp escaped. "Coffee?" Kelly laughed through her tears. "You scared me half to death, and you're asking for coffee?" He managed a weak smile. "Missed you." Doctors soon confirmed what Kelly already felt. Mark was slowly, miraculously improving. His vitals were stronger and his heart responded well to treatment. Recovery wasn't quick. Mark faced weeks of rehabilitation, learning to pace himself instead of pushing at full speed. He joked with nurses, flirted playfully with Kelly, and even posed for a photo with the ICU staff, who had become his second family. He spoke often about the outpouring of love. He said, "I didn't know people cared this much," one afternoon, scrolling through messages. Kelly squeezed his hand. "Of course they do. You're worth fighting for." They made quiet promises to slow down, to savor mornings, to never take another heartbeat for granted. When Mark was finally discharged from the hospital, cameras lined the hospital entrance. He paused on the steps, holding Kelly's hand. He looked leaner, humbled, but his eyes gleamed with gratitude. "I just want to say thank you," he began, voice steady, "to the doctors and nurses who saved my life, to my family, to every fan who prayed or sent a kind word. You gave me strength when I didn't have it myself." He smiled. "Life's fragile. Take care of your hearts and hold the people you love a little tighter." The crowd erupted in applause as Mark and Kelly slipped into their car, bound for home. Weeks later, Mark and Kelly returned to their talk show. The set felt brighter than ever. As they sat side by side, Mark took a deep breath. "I've been given a second chance," he said. "I don't want to waste it." Kelly beamed. "You scared us, but you also reminded us what really matters." Together, they raised their coffee mugs in a quiet toast to resilience, love, and the miracle of a mended heart. If you've been moved by this story, please subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so you don't miss future updates on Mark Consuelos and other important stories. And in the comments below, share your messages of love and encouragement from Mark and Kelly.